Well, the sounds of protests still ring in our ears and hang in the air all across America.
Visions of hundreds of thousands of people pounding the pavement, reminiscent of the turbulent 60s marches against police brutality, and the killing of black people continues to be a theme among people of all races. But the calls for police reform are not new.
And this week we have heard from 3 Baltimore men who were wrongfully convicted by a system that left them in prison for 36 years for a crime they did not commit. And Vic Carter continues talking with the Harlem Park 3. Vic.
Well, Rick and Denise, as a young boy growing up in the South, I knew all too well what it meant to be profiled because of my race. I experience it even today. So you can imagine that when I sat down with 3 men exonerated for a murder they didn't commit, I heard their every word. Tonight, these brave men reflect on the current day protests for police reform that echo what they experienced nearly 40 years ago.
Black Lives Matter! Hands up!
When young protesters marched to call for police reform, they were trying to send a message that anyone of color could become a victim of violence at the hands of those who are charged with the responsibility to protect and serve, even me.
You being a news anchor in Baltimore, big news anchor, that doesn't matter. And you can never forget that one day you may have a cop that pulled you over. And he'll forget about that. And he'll treat you the same way he treated us.
For Alfred Chestnut, Andrew Stewart, and Ransom Watkins, watching the protests unfold across the country struck a chord with them. As teenagers, they were accused of the murder of one of their friends. They proclaimed their innocence from the very beginning, but police detectives allegedly chose to ignore exculpatory evidence that would have proven they were charging the wrong teams.
The witnesses were brought into the police station. Our understanding is that they were threatened with charges themselves. They're juveniles, their parents aren't there, and they then identify Chestnut, Watkins, and Stewart. Based on that, the 3 are convicted.
The Mid-Atlantic Innocence Project was a major factor in the November 2019 release of the so-called Harlem Park 3. Exonerated, now trying to put their lives back together, they are free men who have a different view of the world they left 36 years ago.
We still learning how to drive. Right? How to pay our own bills, right? We learning the most minute, simple things in life that we should have known 37 years ago, right? We should have been growing into that 37 years ago, but you took that from us.
Today, these men applaud the young people who are protesting for police reform, something that didn't exist when they were convicted for a crime they didn't commit.
Them kids that's in the street for Black Lives Matter, man, I support them. And I'm glad to see them out there because that let me know that they're conscious of what's going on.
Now the world is aware of what's going on, and these 3 men are praying that in their lifetime they will see change. Till then, they support the movement.
That's why they out there, because they know their family members are sitting in prison, just like we were sitting in prison. So that's why they out there.
We should note that we have asked the Baltimore Police Department to respond to our questions about the lawsuit. Their response is that they do not comment on pending litigation. And attorneys for the named officers have not responded to requests for comment as well. Meanwhile, attorneys for Chestnut, Stewart, and Watkins emphasize that their lawsuit is not just about their 3 clients, but they hope to address a larger problem of wrongful convictions based on flawed evidence. No word yet on when they will have their day in court. It's a case they want a jury to decide. Back to you.